What is going on, pro wrestling fans? My name is Jose Ramos Jr., and thank you for joining me on tonight's post-show reaction to Friday Night SmackDown. It's seemingly becoming a reoccurring theme throughout the course of the last year on Friday nights that the Bloodline ends Friday Night SmackDown with some sort of beatdown. We saw in the main event Jimmy Uso making his first matchup since WrestleMania 40. That was against Jay Uso, and coincidentally enough, his return matchup is also against another one of his brothers in Solo Sikoa. This is a matchup that I thought was very interesting, given that there was very little, I don't want to say promotion to it, but it really felt like it came out of nowhere. Now, logically, it makes sense that Jimmy's going to want to get his hands on Solo Sikoa, the individual who orchestrated his attack and ultimately forced him out of the WWE for 6 months. But I don't know, I feel like they could have did a little bit more of build up to it. Maybe not on this SmackDown, but the following SmackDown. Nonetheless, it was the main event, and one that I thought kind of struggled to take it into second gear. I'm invested in the Bloodline storyline. I love the amount of support and just the overall reaction that the crowd provided Jimmy Uso. We have Jay on Monday nights, who's getting a great run as one of their top baby faces. He just recently won the IC title, and now I think it's time for Jimmy to get some of that love as well. Nonetheless, they had their matchup, and of course, what did you expect? The Bloodline would get involved, they would interfere. Solo Sikoa goes over on Jimmy, which I think is the right call. You want to continue to build up this Bloodline, continue to build up the heel that is Solo Sikoa, so he becomes a credible threat to our baby faces. And between Solo, Jacob Fatu, and the Tongans, Tamatanga and Tongaloa, they were too much for Jimmy and for Roman Reigns, who would make his way out at the end of the night to try to help out Jimmy in this whole, ordeal. But they were too much. And you can see it was calling back to the opener for Friday Night SmackDown. And that was Jimmy pleading with Roman Reigns that we need help. That at Bad Blood, Jimmy didn't come back because Roman asked him to. He came back because Roman needed him. Whether or not he wants to choose to acknowledge that, Roman has to understand that he cannot defeat this Bloodline on his own. He was lucky enough to have Jimmy at ringside to help him, along with Cody Rhodes, win that matchup at Bad Blood. But given that there is 4 of them, and at this moment, only 2 of Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso, all signs are pointing towards a reunion of the OG Bloodline. Jay Uso, who got a little bit of a reaction there on SmackDown from the audience, they kept doing the yeet chants, and then Roman Reigns shuts it down, saying no yeet. And I like this. I like that we're not just going to hotshot everything and have Jay Uso make his return to Friday nights and help out a family that, for better or for worse, manipulated Jay for the better part of 3 years. Jay Uso shouldn't be, jumping up and down at the opportunity to team up with Roman or Jimmy, who he fought at WrestleMania 40. You look at how they mistreated him, especially Roman in those early days of the Bloodline. Me as Jay Uso, why would I want to jump at that opportunity, especially given the level of success that Jay is finding on Monday Night Raw? Again, one of the top baby faces on the brand, the Intercontinental Champion. Why would I want to succumb to this mediocrity in Jay's eyes? I'm not saying the Bloodline is mediocre, but for Jay, it's almost a step down. It's a step backward. I don't want to go backwards. I want to move forward. So for Roman to go ahead and say, no yeet, it demonstrates that there is still a level of conflict there between the two. Jay willingly left the Bloodline. He was not outcasted by Roman Reigns. If it was Roman Reigns' call, that's a different story. But Jay no longer wanted to be there. He no longer wanted to be under the thumb of Roman Reigns. And like we said, Roman Reigns is lucky that Jimmy is still loyal to him. Roman proclaimed to the audience, hey, we're still the ones. And Jimmy questioned it, saying, are we? because you're a chief without a tribe. We don't have titles. We don't have the bodies. He pleaded with Roman that we need the help, and he knows the guy. Obviously, all signs point toward Jay Uso, which, I mean, they got to deal with their own little conflict there as well between Jimmy and Jay. But then that leaves 3 on 4. So who's the 4th member? The obvious answer, I think, would be Cody Rhodes. He's already having a beef with Solo in the Bloodline. He obviously has a history with Jay, helping him come over to Monday Night Raw, evading the Bloodline. But he's currently wrapped up in a feud with Kevin Owens, which we'll get to in a moment. So I think that leaves one guy. And he's a close friend of Jay Uso. In fact, about a month ago or so, they kind of hinted at a run at the tag titles. I think eventually we will get at War Games the new Bloodline, of course, the Guerrillas of Destiny, Jacob Fatu, and the new tribal chief, Solo Sikoa, versus the team of Roman Reigns, the OTC, Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso, and what I would hope, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was the honorary Us. He did everything for that group. He wanted to feel a part of that family. And the level of conflict that he had to deal with throughout the course of that whole Kevin Owens-Roman Reigns feud, that's what put him over the top. I think Sami's the way to go. Sami, having lost that world title match against Gunther, he's kind of free now. We don't know what the next move is for Sami Zayn. I wouldn't be surprised if we held him off of TV for about a week or two. Give him some time to simmer down, and then just right when you need him, boom, comes right in for the Bloodline storyline. Survivor Series is a little bit over a month away. We do have a ways to build, but I would not be surprised. In fact, I would put my money on Jay and Sami Zayn hopping over to SmackDown and helping out, Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso. And amidst all of this, when does Paul Heyman come back? Paul Heyman, who's been gone for a couple months now since the attack at Madison Square Garden, he's due to return as well. Is he the guy who will help bring over Sami and Jay as the advocate, as the wise man? Maybe. But I think for the case of the storyline, it has to be Roman. I think Roman has to make his way and earn that trust back. Certainly from Jay. It was a hot start for Friday Night SmackDown, and we had a couple of championship matches. We had the United States Championship, LA Knight, defending his title against Carmelo Hayes in a great matchup. I mean, what more would you expect between these two? They're phenomenal. Again, 2 of the best that the brand has to offer. But we saw Andrade, who was a spectator at ringside, maybe intentionally, unintentionally, depending who you want to ask, cause a distraction, threw off Carmelo's game, and led to Carmelo Hayes' defeat at the hands of LA Knight. And what I like about this is that we're having frequent title matches for this United States Championship, something we didn't have with Logan Paul. Logan Paul held the title for, over 100 days easily. It was from November up until SummerSlam. Do the math. I can't do it right now. And we didn't have that many title defenses. LA Knight, if he hasn't already, will already, overlap the amount of times that Logan Paul had defended that title. It's allowing to create more credibility to the reign of LA Knight, as well as presenting him as a fighting champion. And it also leads to match 7 between Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, with the winner receiving a title match against LA Knight. I'm all for it. I love the series that they've had going on between Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. We can get a 7th and final definitive matchup between these two, and they earn a title match against LA Knight, hopefully at Crown Jewel, because I think you got to put that title match on a PLE, add a little bit of diversity when it comes to these 5-card matches. If you ask me who wins, I think Andrade, because we already saw Santos Escobar get a matchup. We've seen Carmelo get a matchup. Why not give Andrade a matchup? I mean, yeah, he did have one against LA Knight. Handshake and all. Who's to say it's not a triple threat? I don't know. Crazy booking, maybe. Doubting it. But who knows? As for the other title matchup, it was the Women's Tag Team Championships, as we had a couple of fun appearances from NXT superstars Lash Legend and Miss Jakara Jackson, which I thought was great. I like that they had a little, little opening promo, kind of introducing themselves to the SmackDown audiences who might not be familiar with their work on NXT, and they would challenge the tag champions, Bianca and Jade. And I thought a pretty quick matchup. I don't know if it was just me. I thought that match went really quick. Obviously, we had Piper Niven and Chelsea Green at ringside. They kind of got involved at one point, and I love the selling by Michael Cole, who's really putting over, the aftermath of the dumpster match between Michin and Chelsea Green. I thought that was very fun. Of course, we knew that Jade and Bianca would win that matchup because they do have a scheduled match on Raw against Io and Kairi Sane, which I think is going to be a great matchup. I think it'll probably, with all due respect to the NXT superstars, I think it'll be a way better matchup than what we got here on SmackDown. You look at what Bianca and Io did a couple weeks ago on Raw. This matchup definitely should deliver. Hopefully they give them ample enough of time, especially because Raw is just transitioning to 2 hours now. So, I mean, we'll see. Let's stick with the women's division. Nia Jax, the women's champion, basically came out with Tiffany Stratton, wanted to address her victory over Bayley at Bad Blood. And we get an interruption by Naomi, who got a match out of Nia Jax. And this matchup itself had a lot of surprises. I mean, we had an appearance by Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Dominic Mysterio, of course, because we're setting up that matchup at Crown Jewel between the champions, Liv and Nia. We even got an appearance by Rhea Ripley, who obviously has her issues with the Judgment Day, all this commotion, and we got the victory for Naomi, who got the victory as a result of Liv Morgan and Raquel interfering, causing Nia to take a pinfall loss to Naomi, which I think is very important to remember here because that basically puts Naomi in line for a championship opportunity. Will it come before Crown Jewel? Maybe. But I feel like we're putting so much stock into this Nia versus Liv matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if they say, yeah, you earn a title matchup, but it'll come after Crown Jewel. Just because that's already been set up. And because we just got the Naomi versus Nia matchup, I don't think they would do it back-to-back weeks or, not next week, but the following week. I wouldn't expect that from them. I would think we'll get it probably after that event is said and done. Probably on the SmackDown leading up to Survivor Series. But that is a ways to go. It is a ways to go. Speaking of Survivor Series, a matchup that I'm anticipating to be on there is Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, again, to reference back to Crown Jewel, will be facing Gunther, their World Heavyweight Champion, for the very same reason that the women are fighting, and that's for the Crown Jewel Championship. Raw versus SmackDown champion versus champion. But right now, Cody's focus isn't really on Gunther. It's on Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, who had interrupted the entrances of Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson and wanted to address what was going on. He said on the microphone, I was asked not to be here. They want to keep me out, which I think is an interesting approach here. This is something different. We thought that the attack by Kevin Owens on Cody Rhodes, we knew that was a heel turn, but the interesting point was there was no production, there was no camera crew, there was no producer by. It was all fan footage. This was something that could only be done in the modern era of professional wrestling. And on Monday Night Raw, they kept it, hush. They didn't really talk about it. They did reference it, but they didn't dive into it. And here on SmackDown, you wouldn't have known that it happened had Kevin Owens not appeared. And upon his arrival, we immediately get Nick Aldis and the security. Cody Rhodes comes out because obviously he wants a piece of Kevin Owens because he jumped him right outside of his tour bus. You're supposed to be my friend, quoting Batista from 2009. You're supposed to be my friend and you jumped me? What is that about? What's the deal here? And then Randy Orton comes out, who's the friend of both of these guys, tagging with Kevin Owens since the spring, was a former mentor, maybe currently still a mentor, to Cody Rhodes since the Legacy days back in the late 2000s. So he wants to keep peace between them. He tells Cody, calm down, I'll go talk to Kevin. He heads to the ring. He tries to back up Kevin, gets behind Kevin, and Kevin gives him the old elbow, to which, of course, Randy Orton, like any, common sense, you hit me, I'm going to hit you back in self-defense, he gives a good old forearm to Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens does a great job at selling this. The expression looked betrayed. He looked hurt. He said, really, you're going to hit me? Obviously signaling, the wheels are beginning to turn in Kevin's head. You could already see where this was going. You're really going to choose Cody over me? He's teaming with the Bloodline. He's teaming with the guys that took you out, Randy, for over a year. But I'm the bad guy. You're going to hit me, which obviously led to later in the night when Randy was attacked by Kevin Owens in the parking lot. And he even tells Randy, hey, you're going to side with him? I love it. I love it because it's logical. It makes sense. You could see why Kevin Owens believes he's in the right. You can understand why there's so much frustration between the three men. Randy is in between. He doesn't want his friends fighting. Kevin, what are you doing? This is our boy. He wants to protect Cody because Cody's got a matchup against Gunther. Cody's upset, obviously, because I trusted you through battles, and this is what you do to me. You attack me. And then Kevin Owens, has a valid point too. You're teaming with the Bloodline. If you would have told me, if me being Kevin Owens speaking, if you would have told me 2 years ago, not even 7 months ago, that you're teaming with the Bloodline, you're crazy. And it's sending Kevin Owens on the deep end, on a spiral. So I'm thinking at Survivor Series, that's where we get the matchup. That's why I think Sami Zayn and Jay Uso team up with the Bloodline in War Games against this new Bloodline. Because Cody and Kevin are going to fight again. It has to be at the Survivor Series. And where's Survivor Series taking place, folks? I'll give you a second. It's in Canada. Vancouver, to be specific. Although it's not, Kevin Owens' hometown, it is his home country, being, Canada. I think it's a great spot. Imagine that. We have War Games, which is already a selling point. We have Cody versus Kevin, and what I'm thinking is the next move, Gunther versus CM Punk for that World Championship. Survivor Series is proving to be a fantastic PLE. I'm looking forward to it, but we first have to look forward to Crown Jewel. And before we even look to that, we got to look to next week on Friday Night SmackDown, because with my final point here, we had a segment here. It was the Legado del Fantasma. They approached Nick Aldis, which I really liked how Santos referred to him as Nicolas. I don't know why I thought that was funny. They want a tag team match. They want to climb up the ranks of the tag team division that sorely needs some rehabilitation. And what a way to rehabilitate a brand that is in desperate need of a jump start. And how ironic of a jump start. Get the jumper cables ready, because it appears that the Motor City Machine Guns will be making their debut seemingly against the Legado del Fantasmas, Humberto and Angel Garza. That's going to be a treat. That's going to be real fun. I can remember going back to the early days of TNA. I wasn't as religious as a fan, I will say, but I heard about them. And I began watching them because I knew guys like Booker T, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe were on that channel. I was like, okay, let me check it out. I remember seeing the Motor City Machine Guns and just being captivated by their tag team work. I think they're one of the greatest tag teams that TNA has ever had, and I'm so excited to see what they bring to the table here in WWE, especially given that they are very much strong credibility in veterans, as well as still capable of going. You saw Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, who are members of the Motor City Machine Guns. You saw them have their title reigns in TNA this past year. Alex Shelley as the TNA World Champion, Chris Sabin as one of the greatest X Division champions of all time. So I look forward to that. I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions, though, on this debut of the Motor City Machine Guns, as well as the ongoing drama between supposed friends Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, and of course the never-ending Bloodline saga. Go ahead and sound off in the comments, like the video, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all post-show reactions such as this one. And of course, I'll leave you with this. My name is Jose Ramos Jr., and I'll see you next time.